Welcome to the Deep Dive. You know how everyone's talking about SEO and how much it's changing? Well, today we're diving deep into what SEO might look like in 2025.
It's going to be wild, I think.
Yeah, and we're basing this deep dive on a podcast discussion between two marketing experts who really seem to know their stuff.
Right. So we're not just speculating here. We're going to be looking at what people who are already living and breathing this stuff are saying about where it's all headed.
We're going to be talking about some really interesting trends like voice search becoming even bigger than it already is.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's AI. It's
Well,
already shaking things up, but apparently it's going to be even more important for keyword research in 2025.
AI can do some pretty incredible things these days. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, I know. And we'll also be looking at why it's becoming absolutely crucial to optimize websites for mobile users.
Which, honestly, it feels like that ship has already sailed. Like, if your
Yeah.
site isn't mobile-friendly by now, what are you even doing?
Well, apparently there's even more to it than just being responsive, so we'll
Yeah.
get into all that.
It's going to be a fascinating deep dive, I think.
Okay, so let's start with voice search.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like everyone's talking about it, but how is it really going to impact SEO strategy?
Well, you know how people are using voice assistants more and more? Like Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant. Those things.
Oh yeah, for sure. I use them all the time.
Yeah, me too. Well, the thing is, people search differently when they're talking compared to when they're typing.
Right, they use more natural language,
Yeah.
like full sentences and stuff.
Exactly. Instead of typing in something short like, best Italian restaurant near me, they might say, hey, Google, what's a really good Italian restaurant in this neighborhood?
Okay, so how do we optimize for that kind of search?
Well, one thing that the experts we looked at suggested is adding FAQ sections to your website.
FAQs. Interesting. So just like answering common questions in plain language.
Yep. It's a way to kind of naturally optimize your content for voice search because you're basically writing the way people talk.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about keywords anymore.
Yeah.
It's about the whole way you write your content.
Right. And it's also just helpful for your audience anyway, right? People have questions, and if you can answer them right there on your website, that's a good thing.
Makes sense. So we're talking about voice search. We're talking about providing valuable information. And that leads us to AI. The experts we're looking at today are saying that it's going to play a huge role in keyword research.
It already is, to be honest.
True. But what can AI actually do for us that we can't already do ourselves?
Well, AI can analyze massive amounts of data way faster and more thoroughly than any human could.
Okay. And what does that mean for keyword research specifically?
It means AI can help us identify patterns and trends in search behavior that we might miss.
So it can tell us which keywords are becoming more popular or which ones are most likely to lead to conversions.
Exactly. And it can even suggest keywords that we might not have thought of ourselves.
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive. So we should be using tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs then. Those are the ones I've heard of at least.
Those are great tools. And ChatGPT can even be helpful for keyword research too.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. But hold on. It's not just about finding any old keyword, right? The experts we're looking at also emphasize the importance of understanding user intent.
Right. It's not enough to just rank for a keyword. You need to understand why someone is searching for that keyword in the first place.
Yeah. So what exactly is user intent and why is it so important for SEO?
User intent is basically the goal or purpose behind a search query.
Okay, I think I get that. But can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say someone searches for best laptops 2025.
Okay, so maybe they're thinking about buying a new laptop.
Right, but they're probably still in the research phase. They're looking for reviews, comparisons, that kind of thing. They're not ready to buy just yet.
So if your website is all about selling laptops, you might miss out on that traffic because they're not at that stage yet.
Exactly. And on the flip side, if someone searches for buy MacBook Pro, they're clearly ready to make a purchase.
So your website needs to make it as easy as possible for them to buy.
Right. You need to have clear product pages, pricing information, and a smooth checkout process.
So basically, you need to tailor your content to the user stage in the buyer's journey.
Exactly. That's what user intent is all about.
Okay. So we've talked about voice search, AI, and user intent. And now I want to move on to another important topic that the experts discussed, EAT, which stands for Expertise, Authority, and Trustworthiness. Why is this becoming so important for SEO?
Well, Google wants to make sure that it's providing users with high-quality, reliable information.
Makes sense. But how does EAT play into that?
Google uses EAT as a way to assess the credibility and trustworthiness of websites.
So it's not just about keywords and backlinks anymore.
No, it's about proving that you're a legitimate source of information.
Okay. So how do we build EAT for our websites? Is it just about having a fancy website?
It's more about demonstrating your expertise and building your reputation.
Can you give me some specifics?
Sure, one important factor is having content that is created by qualified professionals.
So if you're writing about health, you should have a doctor or a medical professional writing the content.
Exactly. And if you're writing about finance, you should have a financial expert writing the content.
Makes sense. So it's about having the right people creating your content.
Right. And it's also about getting backlinks from other authoritative websites.
So like guest posting on industry blogs or getting featured in news articles.
Exactly. Those backlinks act as votes of confidence from other trusted sources.
So it's like getting recommendations from people who are already respected in your field.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And finally, you need to build trust with your audience
How do you do that?
by being transparent about your business practices, having a secure website, and displaying user reviews.
So basically, you need to be open and honest with your audience and show them that you're a trustworthy source of information.
Exactly. EAT is all about building trust with both Google and your audience.
Yeah, okay. So we've covered voice search AI for keyword research, understanding user intent, and building EAT. Anything else we need to be prepared for in 2025?
There's one more major trend that we need to talk about, and that's mobile-first indexing.
Okay, I've heard of that. But can you explain it for our listeners who might not be familiar?
Sure, mobile-first indexing means that Google primarily uses the mobile version of your website to determine your rankings.
So basically, if your website isn't mobile friendly, you're in trouble.
Pretty much. Even if your website looks great on a desktop, if the mobile experience is bad, your rankings will suffer.
So what are the key things to consider for mobile optimization?
Well, first and foremost, you need to make sure your website is responsive.
Meaning it adapts to different screen sizes.
Exactly. But it's more than just that. You also need to make sure your website loads quickly on mobile devices.
People are impatient. I get it.
Yeah, especially on mobile.
Yeah.
If your website takes too long to load, they'll just go back to the search results.
So we need to optimize our images and make sure our code is clean and efficient.
Right. And you might also want to consider using a content delivery network or CDN to speed things up.
Okay, what else is important?
You also need to make sure your website is easy to navigate on a smaller screen.
So using clear menus, big buttons, that kind of thing.
Exactly. You want to make it as easy as possible for people to find what they're looking for.
And what about the content itself? Does that need to be different for mobile?
You might need to adjust the formatting a bit to make sure it's readable on a smaller screen, but for the most part, the same content should work for both desktop and mobile.
Okay, so to sum it up, mobile optimization is about making sure your website is responsive, fast loading, easy to navigate, and has readable content.
Exactly.
Any tools we can use to check our mobile friendliness?
Google has a free tool called the Mobile Friendly Test that can quickly analyze your website and tell you if there are any issues.
Awesome, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a good place to start.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Voice search, AI-driven keyword research user intent, EAT, and mobile-first indexing. These are all really important trends that are going to shape the future of SEO.
And the thing is, they're all connected.
How so?
They all point to a future where SEO is less about gaming the system and more about creating a great user experience.
So it's not just about ranking high on Google anymore.
It's about providing value to your audience and making sure they have a positive experience on your website.
That makes sense. So basically, we need to shift our thinking from trying to trick Google to trying to help our users.
Exactly. That's the future of SEO.
And that's just the beginning. There's one more crucial aspect of SEO in 2025 that we need to discuss, and it's a big one.
Ooh, a cliffhanger. I like it.
Well, you'll have to stay tuned for part 2 to find out.
Can't wait.
Me neither. We'll be right back after a quick break. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So before the break, we were talking about how SEO is becoming less about gaming the system and more about creating a great user experience.
Right, and that leads us to another important aspect of SEO that we need to consider in 2025, ethical implications.
Okay, ethical implications. That sounds pretty serious. What do you mean by that?
Well, as AI plays a larger role in shaping search results, it raises questions about bias, transparency, and control.
You're saying that AI could be biased. How is that possible?
Well, AI algorithms are trained on data. And if that data is biased, then the algorithm will be biased too.
So if the data that an AI is trained on reflects existing societal biases, then the AI could perpetuate those biases.
Exactly. And that's a big concern because AI is being used more and more to make decisions that affect people's lives.
So what can we do about it? How can we ensure that AI is being used ethically in SEO?
Well, I think the first step is awareness. We need to be aware of the potential for bias, and we need to demand more transparency from the companies that are developing these algorithms.
So we need to hold them accountable.
Exactly. And as SEO professionals, we have a responsibility to use these tools ethically. We need to be mindful of the potential impact of our actions, and we need to make sure that we're not contributing to any harmful biases.
That's a lot of responsibility.
It is, but it's important. We have a lot of power as SEO professionals, and we need to use that power wisely.
So ethical considerations are becoming a key part of SEO.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing. It means that we're starting to think more deeply about the impact of our work. And it means that we're committed to using SEO for good.
Okay, so we've talked about voice search, AI-driven keyword research user intent, EAT, mobile-first indexing, and now ethical considerations.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to consider as we look ahead to 2025?
Well, there's one more trend that I think is going to be huge, and that's the rise of the metaverse.
Metaverse. That sounds like something out of science fiction.
It does, but it's becoming more and more real every day. The metaverse is essentially a network of interconnected virtual worlds where people can interact with each other and with digital objects.
So think virtual reality headsets, augmented reality experiences, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And as the metaverse gains traction, it's going to create a whole new landscape for SEO.
How so? What are some of the implications for SEO professionals?
Well, for starters, we'll need to think about how to optimize websites and content for virtual and augmented reality experiences. We'll need to create 3D models, interactive environments, and other immersive content that can be accessed through VR headsets and AR devices.
So it's not just about optimizing for 2D screens anymore. We need to think in 3D.
Exactly. And we'll also need to think about how search will work in the metaverse. Will people still be using traditional search engines, or will there be new ways to discover and access information in a virtual world?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Me neither. But it's something that we need to start thinking about now, because the metaverse is coming whether we're ready for it or not.
So SEO in the metaverse is going to be a whole new ballgame.
It is, but it's also a huge opportunity. The metaverse is going to create a whole new world of possibilities for businesses and for SEO professionals, and those who are willing to embrace the challenge will be the ones who succeed.
Okay, so we've got voice search, AI user intent, EAT, mobile first indexing, ethical considerations, and the metaverse. That's a lot to keep track of.
It is. But the good news is that all of these trends are interconnected. They're all pointing towards a future where SEO is more human-centered, more ethical, and more focused on creating a great user experience.
So the future of SEO is bright.
I think so, as long as we're willing to adapt and evolve.
Well said. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this episode. But before we wrap things up, I want to give our listeners some practical tips that they can use to prepare for the future of SEO. So after the break, we'll be back with some actionable advice that you can start implementing today. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Okay, so we've talked about all these big trends that are shaping the future of SEO. But now let's get practical. What can our listeners actually do to prepare for these changes?
Well, one of the most important things is to stay informed. The SEO landscape is constantly evolving, so it's crucial to keep up with the latest trends and best practices.
Any suggestions for how to do that?
Yeah, definitely. There are tons of great resources available, online industry blogs like Search Engine Land Moz. Those are great places to start. You can also follow thought leaders on social media and attend industry conferences.
Okay, so basically immerse yourself in the world of SEO
Yeah.
and never stop learning.
Exactly. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to adapt to these changes.
Makes sense. What else?
Another important step is to experiment. Don't be afraid to try new things and see what works for your website.
So get out there and test different strategies and tools.
Yeah, exactly. Try different keyword research methods, experiment with voice search optimization, and explore new content formats. The key is to be proactive and iterative.
And don't be afraid to fail, right? I mean, everyone makes mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. Failure is just an opportunity to learn and improve. The most successful SEO professionals are the ones who are willing to take risks and learn from their mistakes.
So embrace the challenges and see them as opportunities for growth. I like that. What else? What other advice do you have for our listeners?
I think it's also important to focus on building a strong foundation. This means having a well-designed website that is mobile-friendly, fast-loading, and easy to navigate. It also means creating high-quality content that is relevant, engaging, and informative.
So basically getting the basics right.
Exactly. The fundamentals of SEO will always be important. Even as technology advances and new trends emerge, having a solid foundation will set you up for success.
It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation before you can start adding all the fancy stuff.
Exactly. And finally, I think it's crucial to remember that SEO is ultimately about people. We're not just optimizing for search engines, we're optimizing for human
Oh,
beings.
that's so important. It's easy to get caught up in all the technical stuff and forget that at the end of the day, we're trying to reach real people.
Right. We need to focus on understanding their needs, their search intent, and their preferences. If we can do that, then we can create SEO strategies that are both effective and ethical.
Well said. Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about SEO in 2025, or at least everything we could fit into this episode.
Yeah, we've barely scratched the surface, but hopefully this has given our listeners a good starting point.
I think so. So to wrap things up, what's the one key takeaway that you want our listeners to remember?
The SEO landscape is constantly changing, so it's important to be adaptable and willing to learn and experiment. But at the end of the day, SEO is all about creating a great user experience. If you can do that, then you'll be well on your way to success.
Great advice. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of SEO. We hope you found it informative and inspiring.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
And to all our listeners out there, happy optimizing.